name is Erin Lowe, this is Braden Kennel, and this is Alyssa Carlson, and we're here to talk to you about how does American healthcare affect today's society.
What is healthcare? By a show of hands, how many of you know what healthcare is? How many of you know how it affects society? For those of you who don't know, healthcare is the assistance provided by the government to help pay for fees and services for medical, pregnancy, and other aids. When talking about healthcare, there is both private and public spending. Private spending is more expensive due to the fact that it's specific to one person and helping you and your needs. However, public spending is for everyone and everyone's jurisdiction within the government, meaning that the government helps pertaining in a certain area.
Currently, the U.S. is ranked 37th for the best healthcare system by the World Health Organization. Almost 2 million people in America need to file for bankruptcy because they're incapable of paying their medical bills each year. The U.S. is the only developed country without universal healthcare, meaning all the other developed countries are advancing their healthcare system alongside their medical field advancements. This picture demonstrates the countries that have universal healthcare. They're in green. As you can tell, the U.S. is not one of them.
So, as the graph shows, or the visual shows, in 2013, 52 million people had healthcare coverage from Medicare. That meant that 260 million people were not provided healthcare by the government. This explains why so many people had to file for bankruptcy due to major medical occurrences, and this doesn't account for how many people had to simply turn away medical care due to the fact that they would not be able to take on the debt that would have happened. Usually a full-time job is needed to get private health care. So there are many people that are working in college that have 1 or 2 part-time jobs that are not able to get any health care coverage. So the United States healthcare insurance policies and the system that they currently have don't cover a large portion of the youth population.
7% annual growth, gross domestic product, and public and private spending all go into the economic proportions of universal or American healthcare. When talking about America's economic growth, product plays a lot of a big role in the government's economy. Gross domestic product is the total value of goods and services provided by the government yearly or annually. And in 1 year, gross domestic product, according to Lee Wang and others, approximately only 10% of all respondents supported the banning of pharmaceutical drugs. Having legal drugs to help American civilians pay for the government's economy and enhance the power of public and active spending. By the graph displayed, you can see that each year there's a 7% increase between 1980 and 2025. The national health is the percent of gross domestic product, which helps private and public spending, which is projected.
The prices for healthcare are rising, as Braden demonstrated in the graph before. Studies are showing a trend and are predicting that by 2027, the U.S. per capita health spendings will rise to $18,594 per person. Currently, there are thousands of individuals in America who are incapable of paying for these finances already, meaning in the future, there will be even more people in debt. There is a 7% difference in fundings between private healthcare insurance companies and ones that go through the government. This means that private healthcare insurance companies like Aetna are growing in size because they're receiving more money. This means that in the future, if this continues to happen, the government will not be able to administer proper health care to those who require it because of the shortage of finances.
A theoretical solution. Universal health care. all of the other advanced countries have universal health care. And they do provide good things like guaranteed coverage, and it would make healthcare a lot more affordable for citizens of the country. But as universal healthcare goes on, the wait times for to get coverage build up because of how many people newly are able to receive coverage. And people are already expressing an unwillingness to pay for a universal healthcare system which is not in place in the United States yet, which leads to the implication that people could completely refuse to pay for the system of universal healthcare, and the system would ultimately collapse, leaving nobody with healthcare. The government also only has a limited amount of money to spend on all of the issues that it's presented with. To switch the system to universal healthcare, they would have to greatly redistribute their funding, and a lot of things that the government needs to take care of would not be able to be paid for because of the switch that would be made.
But the ideas Alyssa had about our theoretical solutions about making an impact on America's government is going to be difficult. However, we can still make an impact even though it's going to be a challenge. For everyday people, it's going to be a struggle making money to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a month or yearly just to pay for a simple help in damages of tax money. Ways to decrease the amount of money that we are paying are having healthcare providers give patients and consumers more information, give healthcare and patients more power, lowering the number of medical tests for patients, and increasing competition among other healthcare providers.
And here's our images segment and our website.
Okay, so a couple of questions for you. I'm going to start with you, Alyssa. In the future, what change would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect that to improve the team presentation?
I would include harder deadlines to make sure that everything's getting done, and actually checking up on each other with how we're handling the work, so we would be able to work together to actually get it done instead of kind of leaving each other on our own to get the work done. Which would help us know each other's material better and understand how we work together with it.
Okay, thank you. Erin, you're next. What is an example of a compelling argument from one of your peers' individual reports that you decided to exclude from your team presentation, and why?
Braden's talked about a lot of his perspective and his lens was economic, and he talked about having the government not pay as much as they would for universal health care, but we decided that it shouldn't be that way and that we need the government to finance because of how much money it costs.
Okay, and finally, Braden. Describe how the content of the team presentation was changed as a result of group discussions.
By group discussions, we often talked on how it should look, how we should edit it, and it came down to putting more facts and details into each single topic. As Erin put with her futuristic lens, she basically boosted on to what I had to say to better the ideas of what we could do possibly better, while Alyssa helped incorporate different solutions and statistics to help counteract what we